Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Anexis, I'm a blind author and your host for today's video. So this is the review of Visions of Flesh and Blood, which is essentially a Blood and Ash slash Flesh and Fire type like fan book compendium. It's essentially like a World of Blood and Ash compendium kind of thing. It's going to be fun. This will be an interesting video. It's definitely a bit shorter, like the one before, because it's mostly spoiler free. There's not a lot to say here, so I'm not going to. There are not even content warnings, so you are good. This is a safe video, I think, pretty much for everybody. Anyway, with that out of the way, here are some housekeeping things before I send you off to watch the video. If you've enjoyed my content, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you're aware of when I release videos. If you would like to see my writing, you can find it both in my website and Substack. I will link those below. If you would like to support what I do here and generally my writing, you could buy my books either through Ko-fi, where you can also put a donation, or you can buy my books through other retailers. I have a debut literary fantasy and poetry collection, so whichever one works out for you, they're both there. And last but not least, if you are an unpublished author and would like your manuscript critiqued, please email me. That will be everything I've mentioned will be in the description, and I will discuss with you my rates. And with that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the other side. Okay, it is time for another Blood and Ash World video, and I'm really excited about this one because I really thought I wouldn't be able to read this, and I'm glad I was able to. I'm going to explain in a minute why that is, but first, let us, if my thing is going to let me, I would like to, oh, here we go. Let us read the synopsis first, and then I'm going to explain why I thought I couldn't read it and all that fun stuff, or wouldn't be able to read it and all that fun stuff, and then let you know kind of my thoughts. Wait, no, before that happens, actually, I want to preface this review by saying that this is going to be kind of like a normal review, but a little bit different because of the type of book this is. And I'm just going to kind of give an overview and give a bit of a breakdown on what it offers. I may not go into a lot of detail on a lot of the things. I think I'm going to leave it mainly spoiler free. At least that's my thought process right now. If that changes, I'll let you know. But I'm going to basically say that. However, if you have not watched any of my Blood and Ash content or and stuff like that, I will link the Flesh and Fire and the Blood and Ash series in a playlist in the description, because both of them kind of go together. Flesh and Fire is a prequel series to Blood and Ash that is going to end soon. They have like a fourth book coming in, but Blood and Ash is still going. So if you want to take a look at those, there will be linked in the description. And so that's kind of what I had to say. But let's get into the synopsis, and then I'll explain why I really thought I wouldn't be able to read this in a minute. Though if you've watched my Blind Anticipates video, I think you would know. But here we go. In case you're new, I'll explain. Visions of Flesh and Blood, a Blood and Ash / Flesh and Fire compendium, is a comprehensive companion guide for background, history, reader favorite information, art, and reference materials, combined with original short stories and scenes from some of the world's most beloved characters, as well as never before seen visual enticements. It's a treat for the senses. Told from the point of view of Miss Willa herself, the compendium acts like research material, but reads like a journal and cache of personal notes, allowing the reader to revisit the characters in history they so love, yet view things in a different way. Visions of Flesh and Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout will with Raven. Yeah, wait. Yeah, Raven Salvador is a must add addition to the series. It's a series that any Blood and Ash slash Flesh and Fire fan will enjoy. Okay, so as you can see from the synopsis, this is a fan book, and this is written for fans who, like me, who really enjoy gushing about this for hours. Check out the playlist, you will understand. But the point is, this is very much something that is definitely written for fans of this book, of this series, and all that comes along with it. However, at the time when this book was when I found out about this book, I genuinely thought I wouldn't be able to read it. So, per what I said in the Blind Anticipates video, I was concerned. I had mentioned I probably won't be able to read this though because it has illustrations, and as I find that I haven't found a lot of the books in time on Bookshare, so I wasn't sure if this was going to be on Bookshare or if this was going to be available to me. But also, I was concerned specifically because I heard about this book through the Jennifer L. Armentrout newsletter, which I am subscribed to. So I get news that way once a month. And what I saw when they had announced this book is that there was no Audible version at the time. So when I created that video, I came in with the information that there probably wouldn't be an audiobook format, especially considering that there was going to be art, and well, there's no way to translate art into, audiobook unless you stop to describe, which I doubt was going to happen. So I was very concerned. I'm like, I probably won't be able to read it. And then at some point later on in the newsletter, there was an audio version, which of course I pre-ordered because I love this series. And I'm happy to say that I was able to read it and that I was able to partake in this, because one of the interesting things is I was worried about accessibility for this. I am someone who does advocate for accessible literature in any way possible. Hence the reason why I donate my books to Bookshare, which is well, some of my books may not be donated there because they'll end up in Amazon and Kindle Unlimited, but some of the thing, Bookshare is a digital online library that is specifically for people who have reading barriers. So it allows them to read books in different formats. So, for example, there's BRF. Some of the books are in what is that called? In Microsoft Word document. There's Daisy format. So it allows readers to read in their preferred format, and they are a nonprofit organization. So I donate my books to them in order to make my books accessible. I put my audiobook here on YouTube for the same reason. And because it may drive ebook sales, but more importantly, is the fact that it will be accessible to other readers who may not be able to read it otherwise. So that to me is important, and because of that, I try to make my work accessible to whatever degree I can. And part of my concern was that because it was going to be mainly in paperback and ebook, my thought at the time, it would be difficult for other people who may not be able to read it, who may not be able to read it, to basically get access to it. So that was part of my concern at the time, though I don't remember if I expressed this specific part, but I do know that was part of my thought process at the time. I was very concerned it wouldn't be accessible to people like me who cannot necessarily read paperback, so I can't engage with the art, but also I wasn't sure I was going to find it on Bookshare. I don't necessarily love reading with a screen reader, and because it's kind of a it's a bit annoying here and there, and Kindle is not the most accessible thing for me personally. I don't like the way it works. So there were a few reasons. However, I am glad I was able to read it, right? And thankfully there was an audio version narrated by Stina Nielsen, and I was happy to be able to read it. It is like 24, maybe 26-hour audiobook. So I read it in a couple of days, and I enjoyed it. I will preface by saying that I did enjoy it. So let's start with the breakdown of this book, because if I'm surprised about the low rating that it has on, well, not low, but like the fact that it wasn't rated by many people on Goodreads yet. But I am gonna talk about this book as a fan and let you know my thoughts about it as such. Now, again, this book was definitely written for the fans who really can't get enough of this world, and just can't get enough of these characters. This was absolutely written for us, and you can absolutely tell that this was written for us. This was also written for the fans who really like making theories. This book is really good for theorizing because you'll find something that may confirm or deny your theory, even if it doesn't like outright tell you. You might find some evidence for theories here, and that it. When I read it, I was, when I was starting to read it and was finally able to find it, I will not lie, I was feeling the feelings of my young 14-year-old Divergent obsessed person that I was. Now, if you're new, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it before, but I will mention it again. I had a Divergent phase at 14. I was obsessed. I read everything possible with Divergent in it. I reread some scenes. I read the fan book, which is basically like, it's called The World of Divergent. I think it's The Path to Allegiance. I read the short stories. I read the that one scene that is like that's basically like a 13-page book that is in Ford's point of view. It's like the knife throwing scene. I read the behind the scenes like book that was just about like the creation of the Divergent movie. I read it all. I was obsessed. I have no shame in admitting I was obsessed. So I really felt that when I was reading this book, because I love this world, and any fan related stuff I kind of wanted to participate in. So I was definitely obsessed. Now, is this book necessary for the rest of like the series? Like, do you actually need it? I don't think so. But if you are someone who just generally enjoys this kind of stuff and just can't get enough, and this is something that you want to see the illustrations, or you just want to hear some of the history that maybe you didn't get in the book, or couldn't quite pick up in the book, this is a book that can do that. So let's start with a bit of a breakdown and overview, so that way you will want to figure out if you want to really get it. So at its heart, well, this is a fan book. This is also a series Bible. And there are moments in the book where you can tell the author absolutely inserted herself a little bit. And one of them is like a character interview with Kieran, where the reporter, I forgot the name of the reporter. I'm pretty sure it was literally her name, because it literally said JLA, but I'm pretty sure that it actually did say reporter Jennifer L. Armentrout in the book. I could be wrong about this. There were points where it was like where she was talking about Zutoria, and she was like, I mean, have you seen the pictures of her and Poppy and how similar they are? Which to me confirms that Poppy is Zutoria. If you don't know what this is about, just watch the content, watch the last review that I did, which was a Flesh and Fire, which was about a Fire in the Flesh. Watch a Fire in the Flesh. Hopefully by the time this is out, that book will be that book review will be out because I need to talk. I have some thoughts on that book, and I'm going to release them to you. So, yeah. Okay, so watch that. But that's one of those things. There is a point where they talk about playlists, and while it is written in in her in Miss Willow's point of view, you can definitely tell it's the author inserting her hand a little bit because she's like, I see certain songs for them, and she gave us, there was a playlist for pretty much every book, and stuff like that. I never would have associated, by the way, the song WAP with anything related to Castile and Poppy, or Nyktos and Sarah. I just wanted to put that out there. I never would have associated that, but apparently she did get inspired by that song, so good for her. So that's one of those things, like, you can kind of tell there were parts where the author absolutely inserted herself. And I'm okay with that. It is definitely a series Bible. Now, this is not a complete series Bible, however. Remember that right now, as of recording, what is out are the first 3 books of Flesh and Fire and the first 5 books of Blood and Ash. And that means that this book only covers those 3 books, plus some, like, history and among a couple of other things that are in that either were not in the books, or just were other things that are kind of, just generally speaking, just other knowledge and reader information that maybe we would want to know, and maybe will be revealed later or more, but also just general information that was probably revealed in the books, but with all the world building we didn't necessarily catch. So that's kind of all it covers. We get plot summaries for the characters and like their arcs and just stories in general, and we leave the book with, like, basically with it saying, like, these are my cache of notes right now, like, these are all the updates I have, but hopefully I'll update as I see more things. That is kind of how we end this book. So that is basically the overview of the book. You get some really interesting short stories, like the scene. Some of these are just in scenes. There is a scene between Castile and Poppy that was definitely a sex scene that was not in the books that I can remember. You get the story. Okay, so you get one of my favorite parts of Blood and Ash, or from Blood and Ash. A slight spoiler here, is one of the things that Tawny and Poppy talked about was a time when they wanted to, like, sneak into the lake, and we never fully got that story. We kind of got, like, the idea of that they got snuck into the lake, and they had the conversation about it, and it was like, who bathes in their clothes, that scene. We got the story of how they were in the lake, and they got and how they snuck into the lake, and we got that story. So it was really cute. One of my favorite short stories, I think, in this book is actually a scene from Flesh and Fire that was told from Ash's point of view. Now, there is a very interesting sex scene which starts out very differently from in any case, that was shown from Ash's point of view, and it was a scene where he was trying to teach her to bring out her magic, and eventually led into sex. And it was a really cute scene, though, and it was even more adorable in Ash's point of view. For me, it was just adorable. It was cute. Again, I'm keeping it to, like, this kind of like normal spoilers like this. So besides history, one of the other things, now, if you are anything like me, it was very interesting to you that the diary of Miss Willa Collins, which was very much mentioned in the Blood and Ash series as being one of maybe one of Poppy's favorite books, or one of the ones that was read, and it became a common joke throughout the series about teasing Poppy for reading her favorite sex book. Like it was like a running joke in the series. Guess what we get in this book? We get some of those entries, everyone. We get some of the entries of Willa in her diary, and I am here for it. This woman is so sex positive. I love her so much. It was very interesting. Like she appreciates all kinds of kink. And she's just like, I'm in. I'm in for having a great sex life. And she's like, yeah, this is great. This is delightful. And she has no shame, and I love it. We find out a couple of interesting people that she's been with. And just to give an overview, one is Castile's great, I think great grandfather or uncle. I don't remember who Ilian is, but they had like he and his wife had an open marriage, so it wasn't really cheating. So it was like an open marriage, and it was accepted. Like she it was great. They both kind of found their own lovers and stuff like that. And we also find out in this book really that Miss Willa is bi. She's bi. She's very much bi. At least to me, she's bi. And she has that one. She hooked up with one of Kieran's aunt or great aunt. I think it's aunt, because she's his mom's sister, and her husband. She hooked up with a general from the Blood Crown, with Victor of all people, and also a Draken. She's been all over the place, and I'm okay, and I love her. I love her. I love it. It was a very interesting. It's very interesting. Diary entries, and I also count those as short stories. So yeah, I'm absolutely here for that. So that's kind of that. As a fan book, I think it absolutely works. I think it really works as a series Bible as for now. And if you're someone who doesn't like rereading, you could potentially reread you could potentially read this book, but remember, it's only up to book 3 before the books come out. But remember that it's only up to book 3 in Flesh and Fire, and up to book 5 in Blood and Ash. So when future books come out, you may, if you want to remember everything, this book is only going to help you with those 7 books. Wait, 7? No, 8 books. Now it's not going to help you with the others. It's only going to help you with those books. I also want to say that there is also a fun look at the prophecy, which I think is interesting in the book. So keep that in mind. But yeah, no, so that's kind of like something you can do. You can reread it for recap purposes before before book 6 comes out for Blood and Ash, and before book 3 comes out book 4 comes out for Born of Blood and Ash, which by the time this is out, that book is probably going to be out. Though I don't know how useful it's going to be when Born of Blood and Ash is out, unless you're going to reread it and then read Born of Blood and Ash before reading like any other books in Blood and Ash, because I will be rereading the prequels often while I'm reading the Blood and Ash series. Now I will say I will probably be rereading the books and maybe reread this series this book along with my reread. That will probably be my order, just because I kind of like this companion, and I think it can, while offering recaps, I think it might bring up other things for me, other things to think about while I read the other books. And I think that's kind of how I'm going to do it. I'm probably going to be rereading the prequels, then the first 5 books of Blood and Ash, then this book at the end of it as well. I don't think this necessarily belongs to any I don't think necessarily that this belongs to like any specific God damn it, what's that called? Like you can read it. I think you can read this in any order I think you want, but I will probably read it after reading, A Soul of Ash and Blood, and then read this one. That's probably how I would do it, but that's just me, and stuff like that. But I will probably be rereading this book a couple times as I reread the both the series when the books come out. So those are my thoughts. This is definitely the fan collectible, and I love it. I gave it 5 stars. I had a great time. I love fan things like this. I love them. I think that they bring out great things for me personally. They're amazing for me. They're just great. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have you read this book? Do you plan to read this book? What do you think? Hello, and we are back to post-production me. So there's really not a lot to say here. I pretty much have no new thoughts related to this book. I think this was a fun book. I think that if you are a really big fan of the Blood and Ash series / Flesh and Fire series, you are actually going to enjoy this. Actually, wait, no, there is one more thing I can say. Actually, it's a bit. I don't know if this. I think this kind of covers it, but I don't know by how much, because I also haven't quite figured this out. But as I understand it, there is supposed to be a connection between the book Fall of Ruin and Wrath, which is a part of Jennifer L. Armentrout's Awakening series, and these books. It's apparently Fall of Ruin and Wrath takes place in the Blood and Ash world, and there might be some information in Visions of Flesh and Blood kind of leading to that, because it talks about the ancients. So it is making me wonder if the Awakening series is going to be based on the ancients. I do know, because I read some excerpts of it, even though I haven't read Born of Blood and Ash. I did see that there are not about the ancients, but there seems to be like a point of view or some point of views related to the fates. I think I actually could be wrong, but I remember reading some like excerpts that there seemed to be point of views related to like maybe the fates or something, or the RA. So I don't quite know, but maybe I will see. I'm not sure, but those are like that's like the only thing that I did want to say. I'm not sure if it'll fit, but if it'll if it's the right if how it'll come along. But basically anyway, this will likely be the last video regarding Blood and Ash for a while, because I have other content scheduled and I have not read the other books. And while I could move up things in the timetable, I generally don't do that because it just makes it more complicated. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is Bridgerton Season 3. I have the video recorded. I will actually be editing it right after. And hopefully I can... I will be releasing it very soon. And it turns out this is literally the perfect time to talk about it, because season 4 will be coming out at the end of January. I think at least the first 4 episodes will be out at the end of January. And guys, you've had short video. This video and the last one were short videos. I hope you're ready for another long one, because I believe the Bridgerton, or the original footage for Bridgerton was over 2 hours. So, and the only thing I might record for that video is my intro, but yeah, so I hope you're ready for another long, for a couple of hours with me, hopefully next week, but generally speaking, next video. I hope you're ready for that. And with that, thank you for joining me today. Consider subscribing if you enjoy my content. Turn on notifications. Also, like and comment on the video. Let me know your thoughts on this. If you want to see my writing, my website and Substack are in the description, as well as ways you can support me through Ko-fi by buying my books, making a essentially tipping me, making a donation, or you can email me if you would like manuscript critiquing for your unpublished book. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, consume stories.